What's up, everybody? Welcome to Clutch's Corner. Let's go ahead and get started. And starting things up, we're going to start with Walmart. Now, let's take a look at the trend lines on Walmart for a second. You can see this lower one right in here. We've been staying above that, or we did have trouble getting above it for quite a while. So that's good. And even if we look farther back, we can see we weren't really ever near this area before then. So it is a very important area that we are staying above. But if we take a look at the top side over here, this red trend line from right in here, and then the white trend line from these two, you can see that they're actually pretty much lining up. And they're lining up right at the top of that fail to where it definitely gapped up, hit these levels, and then said, boop, coming right back down. But if you look at this blue one in the middle, you can see that these ones are staying above it. These are staying above it. And then if you look over here, it had a very hard time getting above it. Over here, it stayed above it. So these are some very important trend lines that it is kind of like wedging up in between right now. I really liked it because of that. And if we go down to the 30-minute time frame, we can start to see where these price targets are coming from. First one being the top of this two right in here, where all of this chops through. All of this choppy area here is going to have the algorithm right up at the top of this one, where you can see all of this is like wicking through it, passing through it. Then we'll extend past here to the top of this, of course, the high of the day. And by going into the 5-minute, we can see where that contention point is in between these two areas, right at the top of this vein to zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. This is where that in between was on it, right? So that's what I'm looking at for Walmart, and I think it looks really, really good. All right, moving on to Airbnb. Excuse me. This thing is also kind of at the top of a trend from right in here. You can see that even though it was pretty much a straight shot up, wouldn't you know what we got exhausted around was that same trend area, giving us a failed two. We did have another failed two here. So we're looking to see if this actually activates for us. Activating meaning it actually crosses entry and does what it needs to without gapping. Because if it gaps, then it'll probably gap and then maybe just continue to go up. So we'll see. First price target is at the bottom of this two, and then the bottom of this two. This one's important because you can see the contention from these areas over here. This one's important because you can see it down here. Then the bottom of this two, and the bottom of this two. So these are just some pretty classic steps, to be honest, and not too difficult in seeing where it can go. Crowd does not like to be in this area, right? Let's just take a look at that, right? So we're looking to see if it wants to push down out of this finally. And if it does, we can see some really nice movement from it because just between entry and PT1, you've got $2 of movement. Because of the range, it could extend, even farther past this, but I'm not going to chase a gap fill down here or anything like that. But that is the potential of where it could go. Going to the 30-minute, we can start seeing where some important areas are. Bottom of this two, where all of this is starting to kind of get a little yappy. The bottom of the one where these things are wicking through, but then switching sides. And then we're going to extend to the bottom of this three. Going to the 5, we'll be able to see what's in between that, which is right in here. Right, we can see the choppiness on the lower time frames right in here. And I don't need to put the PT right here. I think it's more so right here where it actually chops through plenty of times and not just touches it once, right? Beyond that, the other price target is going to come from a lower time frame. I believe it was the 30, to be honest. Yeah. And we can see right here, this is where things are going to test it. Right here to the penny, false break, test it. This is going to be the potential of where it can go. And then, if it does keep going, then yes, sure, it potentially could go and, fill the gap. But I'm not looking for that big of a movement on it in one day. It could happen. Amazon with a fail two as well. Now, last time, I do want to say also that, where is it? If you took the yearly signal that I gave out on Amazon, where is it? These yearlies? It was this one. During a session. Yeah. Wouldn't you look? Would you look at that? We are right at PT3 for the yearly, which is what I gave out. And we are kind of trending down from these two. However, in like a bigger sense, we are definitely trending up, right? So I'm not really so we are slightly beneath it, but we'll see what happens in here. If it does continue to come down, you know, rejecting the tops of these things, continuing that trend, and we can see it start taking out some of these PTs. Now, to be completely transparent, these PTs are all on the dailies just because of the range of what Amazon can do. So I didn't even zoom in. There's PT1 is the previous day's low, previous day before that's low, skipping over here to this previous day's low, this previous day's low, and then all the way over here. So I didn't actually zoom in any further, and that is because of range, right? The range that this thing actually has to be able to move. You know, if it starts right in there from where it closed, it can extend down to there. So hopefully that makes sense and why I stuck with the PTs being that way. Moving on to Tesla. Now, Tesla is actually, I'm so excited for Tesla fine because we are now not bouncing off of this, and we actually have some room to get to it. And that room, you know, is a healthy amount of space to make some money. But if we do finally break this, we are definitely going to go test out some lows that were found all the way over here, back from freaking May of 2023. The low in here, the low in here, and then I zoomed in maybe to the 30 minute. Let's see. Yep. Zoomed into the 30 minutes to find like what was going on in between those areas. And is there anything that I should be aware of? And I chose the bottom of this fail to right here where it was coming down, it was coming down, it was coming down, dink, went back up, and then finally came down. So if there's some leftover algorithms in this area, I just want to be aware of it. But other than that, I'm feeling really good about Tesla. It looks really, really nice. However, I will say if it's expensive for you, just buy a farther out strike price, something over here where you'll be able to get in the money if it actually plays out. And with something like Tesla, you probably will have a good delta as well. My TOS is closed right now, guys. Sorry. And this is going to be a long video already. So not going to go over strike prices in this video, but we will continue that next time. Moving on to Google. This is clearly super exhausted, but at the same time, it's like right at its trigger point for the monthly that I gave out. So the monthly trigger did its freaking thing, took out a lot of stuff, and now it looks like it wants to potentially retry that right in here because it went past it, filled the gap in here, tested out these areas again and said, I'm good. See you later. Came right back down. We're literally closing right beneath the monthly entry. Unfortunately, that monthly PT1 is very close, but we're looking for it to break past this, break past the daily, and then start taking these out. Coincidentally, some of these daily PTs are so closely related to the monthly ones. So that is like an extra confirmation on those PTs. Like thinking like, hey, we've just been here before. We've been here a couple times, and on lower time frames, it's lining up with those same spots that were from months ago. This looks really good. I love the exhaustion on it. If it continues to break down, we're going to see it test the bottom of this two, 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 with the most classic case of just steps, right? Just simple steps up along the way that we're going to go and test out. After that, beautiful fail 2 on Netflix. But what I like about this is that it was just like sideways for so many days, finally broke up, and then it said, oops, wrong way. Someone pushed the wrong button at the office. And it looks like we want to come down and test that out some more. This has the range to be able to take out the price targets that were given, as you can see, pretty much exactly. So that's why I didn't extend, further past that or anything. Moving to a couple of these are going to be very obvious. Obviously, you have the lowest part of the day here, lowest part of the day here, lowest part of the day here, lowest part of the day here. But there is these earlier ones that I found from the 30 minute. And those are coming from the bottom of this two, and then the bottom of this too. And it is going to be conservative with something like Netflix because even though these do look like they're very close to each other, it actually is a very sizable range. And that range can make you a lot of money. Same thing that I was suggesting earlier, buy something that's farther out of the money. And as long as the deltas are good, then you're going to be all right. You don't have to spend so much on buying at the money contracts for something like Netflix because Netflix is expensive. All right, same thing over here with the double ones followed by the fail two. So you got to remember, like, this is my favorite type of play because of the bigger story that it tells. It was going in one direction, it went sideways, it broke the opposite way. And then whoever it was that was pushing it before that said, no, we're bringing it back down where we want. That's what we're seeing here happening with Zoom. That's what we see happening with Netflix. And the PTs are pretty easy to find. Bottom of this two right here, where it just slightly extends past this, but I do think that this is what we're going to come test out. Bottom of this two right in here. Of course, this is where the bottom of the day was. And then we have the, those were just all bottoms of the day. It was only the first two PTs, right? Yeah, these two, bottom of the day, bottom of the day, bottom of the day. Really like the way this looks. All right, so now we move on to AMD on the weekly, which, I mean, come on, look at this thing. This is ridiculous. This thing is screaming, I want to be puts, but we'll see what happens. These companies have a lot of news catalysts going on with them right now. And if it does break the weekly entry, then we're going to come test out some daily price targets. And here, then we have the gap. Then we have this humongous candle. Now, let's be honest, this range is just absolutely insane. That it moved the week before $26. I'm not expecting AMD to actually fully plummet a whole another $26. If we're in puts and it happens, yay. But I went ahead and was a bit more conservative with some of the price targets because of the overextending of the range. This is not a normal range for something like AMD. So going to the hour time frame, dang, 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 dang. You can kind of see where I decided to put these price targets now. And just a classic case of steps, right? That's all that this really is. And it's being conservative within the range as well. So that's why there's a lot of little extra ones that are found on the hour, which typically for a weekly play, I would not be finding price targets on the hour time frame. But again, we can clearly see here that this right here is an abnormal range for AMD. AMD does not typically move that much on a weekly basis. So it would be very hopeful to expect it to move that much again, just cause, right? So we did have to zoom in more there for that. And moving on to spot. Now this is chef's kiss looking of a freaking candle, right? Started here, became a 2-up, shot to the freaking moon, hit a wall, drop back down to Kingdom Come. And this is exactly the type of fail two that we love to trade. This is the best type of fail two to trade. It screams, you should have swung because I'm probably going to gap down to PT 17. Ha 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 ha. Screaming that, right? So if we go to the daily, we can start seeing that, yes, there is a big range here. We're going to have to do the same thing that we did with AMD. Bottom of this two, bottom of this two, bottom of this two. Then we're going to zoom into the hour to kind of see like where are some points of contention before these big ranged price targets are. Clearly, we can see we're going up. Okay, down here, hit a wall, so we stopped right in there. In between this, the failed two right in here is where I'm putting that price target. Of course, and those were lows of the day. So those are all really easy to see and understand from the daily perspectives on it, right? Awesome. Then we've got NVIDIA, which is the same sort of thing, right? And as far as its failed two goes, now NVIDIA has just been on a freaking tear recently, but it got so close to $1,000, which is a pretty big psychological level, I think, for many people that are going to want to start getting puts. And it got very close to it, and then it just started shattering down, right? And it had a humongous drop in a, that's crazy. $139 movement a week is absolutely insane. So do we expect that same movement to the downside? Again, that would be extremely hopeful, but let's see what we can find. Going to the daily, right? We can see that there is some just simple daily PTs here because I want to be more conservative and I don't want to put my first price target over $40 away. I went ahead and went end of the hour to see where else is a point of contention on a lower time frame that I should be aware of. And look at this sidewaysness right here. Look at the sidewaysness. So right in here is where I put it, where it gets tested the most. And that's where I think that our first piece T is going to come from. So you break past that. I'm sure you do have some extras down in here. But again, this is like from the hourly time frame, and I wouldn't really be looking at those for my main price targets, if that makes sense. So yeah, awesome. That's NVIDIA. Again, buy further out of the money. The delta probably won't be as great, but let's be honest, NVIDIA is fucking ridiculously expensive to buy at the money right now. Okie dokie. Failed 2 on Disney's weekly. I love it. I actually love it. The bummer is that it's like bouncing off of this trend right here. Oops. And that can be seen coming from this spot right in here where it had trouble getting above it. Finally broke it. We're staying above it. We're staying above it. So we'll see, right? This could very easily be like a false break happening. And like on a bigger time scale, we could see it shoot right back down and potentially come test out this trend line that's down here. We'll make this make it light blue, right? That could be where we see things go and test. Now, as far as price targets go, bottom of the weekly here, bottom of the weekly here. Zooming into the daily, you can see where the other ones are being chosen from. Right in here at the bottom of this 2, where you can see all of this is having a little bit of trouble getting above it. Bottom of this 1, where all of this is having trouble getting above it. Over here as well, we have trouble getting below it. Bottom of this 2, all of this has trouble getting below it. So when we're in puts and it has trouble getting below it, be aware of that, because next time we get over to that area, guess what? It might have trouble getting below it, right? And we need that confirmation of it breaking through that area. And we might see some leftover algorithms get filled. And that's why we see things bounce from PT to PT to PT to PT to PT to PT and then done, right? Leftover algorithms. Bottom of this 2 and bottom of this 2, those were found on the dailies as well. Moving forward to D-King. This is a nice one for anybody that has a smaller account, especially on a weekly, movement, right? Obviously, if it's a daily, it's like, oh, well, the daily is only like 20 cents a day. Like, hey, I feel you. I feel you. But this has the range to do more than that because it's a weekly play with a beautiful fail 2. Is a 2-1-2-2 reversal that's being formed. Again, the 2 down, the 1, it broke to the upside, hit these levels again and said, let's get out of here, right? So we're looking to see it come test these things out again. Moving into the daily, classic case of steps, right? Sometimes they're just steps because there aren't points of contention or a bunch of algorithms where we can see it bouncing off of it on the same time. Sometimes it's just step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1 does have some contention over here though. Step 2 has it right over here. And step 3 has it right down here. So you have like the best of both worlds, the contentions and the steps, right? And then because of range, the final one that I'm seeing is right in here, has trouble getting above, breaks through it, has trouble getting below, has trouble staying below, and then rockets through. So D-King looks really great as well. Ford. Ford is a great one if you are, trying to recover and you've got like a little bit of smaller account and you don't want to be buying any of the big tickers or anything like that. You just kind of want to maybe test some stuff out. Ford is a good one, right? I've made some good money on Ford. The only issue is, because sometimes the contracts are so cheap that a big percentage won't really be that much money. Just being real with you, right? So anyways, we do have a 3 with a failed 2. So we're looking at a 3-2-2 reversal here. Now, these are always going to create rev strats as well. And even though this is really ugly, it's still respecting it, right? This is not the greatest like angle that I would want my broadening formation or for a rev strat to be at. But, hey, you could consider this the real one, delete that one, and this looks a lot better. And honestly, it's doing the same thing at the same point. So this looks really good. If we do break past PT1 because of range, I do see us being able to test out these areas over here course, this is just the bottom of the previous week, bottom of this too, and then that in-between section right in here. And if you look, you can see where all that fight is happening right in that area. Can't get above it, can't get above it, finally gets above it, tries to stay above it, cracks. So next time we get down here, all those people are going to have to come and decide what they want to do. All right, Roku with the failed 2 as well. Now, Roku is a little bit more interesting, right? Because if we look over in this area, and I'll do this right here, you can see all the contention that it has in this area, especially starting over here, right? You can see it. False break, soon right up. We're not even false breaking it yet, at least. We're just tapping right off of it at the same time. So it's looking very much like it does want to come retest the upside for a little bit. For how long? I don't know. We'll see. And going into the daily, we can see this, but and you know, just to end it off, this is the gap fill as well. I did go down to the hour though for this one because I wanted to see where are some other points of contention. Right in here, look at this, how this cannot get beneath it. So that's that price target 1 right there, price targets 2 right there. Where all of this couldn't get above, like couldn't stay above it. Oops, dipped its toes in the water and couldn't do it anymore, right? And then after that, we'll have the high of that day right in there. Roku looks really good as well, I'm gonna be honest. And ending things off with PFE, FISA. Excuse me, beautiful failed 2, staying above this trend that, you know, we've been kind of chopping it through for a while. We're still doing it, but we're finishing out on this side. So let's see if we can actually come and test out the tops of these really quick. Moving into the daily, we can start to see where our price targets are coming from. PT1 is going to be right here because good golly, Miss Molly, look at how all of this is not closing underneath it. Wicks through, wicks through, wicks through, ooh, close, breaks through, immediately comes back up, wicks through, wicks it, wicks through, finally breaks. So next time we come up to here, guess what? We're going to be testing this algorithm right here. Bonus points if you notice that these are all wicking off of it to the upside as well over here. I got you. All right, so that's going to be the first algorithm. Second one, right in here. Again, look at this. Look at this. Third one right up in top of this bad boy. All of this is having the same exact effect of chopping through it. Top of this one, where again, these are all wicking through it. So there's so many wicks on PFE, but those wicks are indicating strong reversals on lower time frames. Strong reversals on lower time frames indicate strong algorithms. So that's why we have the price targets that we have, because we're catching them before they can kind of flip it and, you know, spank us out. Like if we're waiting for this one and we don't understand the wait, you know, this is here and why, then we might not even be able to make it up here before we start seeing some choppiness or bounce to retest entry or something like that. So yeah, lots of plays. Let's make some freaking money tomorrow. Let's make some money this week. I'm going to be in the Discord live. So come hang out, come trade live with me. I'm super excited to see y'all's growth continue even more. I love y'all so much. And as always, welcome to the other side.